Good day. Welcome to my session. My name is Professor Emeritus Stephen ADEI. We continue our series on wealth creation for all and our Millionaires Club. Today, my title is There is Hope for All in Wealth Creation. There's hope for all in wealth creation. This will be probably my last of the introductory sessions before I go through the principles of sustainable wealth creation. But today I want to address two groups of people who are likely to tune out when you talk about wealth creation because of their current situation. I'm talking to the unemployed and the low-income earners. The unemployed and low-income earners. And I'm saying that there's hope for all in wealth creation. In other words, I don't want to switch off as we go through the series because you too can be rich and holy. I love listening to people who share their humble beginnings, especially financially. For example, one of the richest people in Ghana is my godnephew, Joseph Ejapon Sam, known more by one of his companies, Zoom Lion fame. He started selling things, just carrying them in the marketplace. We call it in our time a pem store, that means store on top of your head. That did not prevent him to become one of the richest people in this country. The other day I was listening to the story of Sir Sam Jonah, one definitely of those who have made it in Ghana. He started as an underground miner, digging gold near my village, 12 miles from my village in Obuasi, in Ashanti Gold. And there are countless people who today can boast of millions and probably billions of cedis who started almost with nothing. Whether you are talking about the Tobinkos or who have you. I myself, I don't qualify as the rich, among the rich and famous, but from where I've come from, I thank God for bringing me thus far. To be a cedi millionaire from Hiramwasi is no mean achievement. We were so poor by every other standards. All my property until I was 16 will be my school khaki uniform, top and down, maybe one uniform, usually a cloth, which is given to you at Christmas, and you can use it for church services. And also, as it gets older, you use it for sleeping, and woe betide you if it got torn in the middle of the year. You take refuge in one of your mother's farm clothes when he comes home. We actually literally struggled who would grab mommy's farm cloth for night cover. The good news is that in my case, I never felt poor because everybody around us was poor. So at least it was better, not like today, whereby you may be poor, not having a meal, and somebody passes you by you with a V8. So among my villagers, I think that my family was relatively well off. We never slept hungry because there was abundance of food. Even after eating fufu, you can still go to the kitchen and put a cocoyam in the fire. And by 7 o'clock before you go, you top up. That was our nice dessert. occasionally if you got Kobe, or just dug a hole and put some salt and palm oil in it. That was what we call sumptuous dessert. I quite remember that when I was a young person, about 4 years, definitely not more than 5, I had a shoe. And then I outgrew it. It was given to my nephew, Akwasi Fori. And that was the end. The next time I had a footwear was when I was in grade 10. But hey, everybody walked barefooted. So, Hakuna Matata, I did not have to worry. The only time I had some bitter experience that when I was going to training college, just before 16, we were supposed to go with a shoe. And the only one who could help me was my older brother, so he gave me a shoe of his. He was a people teacher in a nearby village, but he happened to be shorter than me, so his shoe barely fitted. And of course, I wore it for only one day. There were blisters everywhere on my foot. So I was exempted by the college not to wear shoes. What they didn't know was that it was a smaller size. So I never wore any shoe. I was allowed to have my sandals all the time when we also teachers college, which unfortunately got torn when I was coming to University of Ghana. So for 3 months, I had a chalewati. So though I may not be in your situation today, being unemployed, because in my village, I never got unemployed. I could always go as a farm laborer, and those days you get a shilling and 6 pence. That means about 15 pesos today. And that was enough. That was enough for you to feel good. You know, you get Mami the day's rice with about just 2 pence and then 2 pence, as we call it. And then you go away. But I have been there, not in a similar situation. It was a rural economy, but I'm talking up to people who are likely to be educated, at least finish JHS in order to follow me, who are unemployed or low income. But I say there's hope for you. And don't give up. It is only fair for me to say that climbing up from a deep well is not easy. We say it in the Akan language. Say you will see if you are born on a hilltop, you grow fast because soon you can see everywhere. But if you are coming from the valley, it takes a little longer. But yes, it is doable. Where I live, even though we hope it will become one of the first-class areas in Ghana, since it is underdeveloped, there are many uncompleted buildings, and there are squatters all around. And sometimes someone comes to you and says that me and my 3 children are going to sleep without a meal. That is how poor some people are. You try to help, and occasionally some people take advantage of you. But hey, that is life. You cannot win it all. But what I'm saying is this: if you are listening to me, you are poor, you are unemployed, you may not even be sure of your next meal. Don't give up. There's hope for you. And I'm not just talking as a matter of faith, because I want to talk to everyone, those who believe and those who do not believe, Christians, Muslims, atheists, and others who claim they don't believe in anything, though I don't believe that there's anyone who does not believe in anything. At least they believe in themselves. But whoever you are, things can change. Your present situation should not define your future. Let me repeat it. Don't let your present situation define your future, because there is hope for almost everyone when it comes to world creation. Of course, I'm talking as a Christian. I believe that God created you with value. You are intrinsically valuable, and don't let anyone despise you because you are unemployed or you are poor. The other day I was listening to the wage bargain between the public sector employees and the government. And it was so painful to hear that the minimum wage in this country is less than 500. And even some Saito type of private school, that's how they pay diplomates and graduates and school leavers. So I know that it's not going to be easy. His Excellency the President said that he is resetting the agenda. Of course, there's more to be done, and we wish him the best. But I have good news for you. If you are in such a situation, don't let your current state define your future. I want to spend the little time I have to speak to two categories of people, namely the unemployed and the low-income earners. Because from the next time we meet, I'm going to assume that you are earning some income, maybe 1,000, not that high, and above. But these ones, I don't want to leave these two categories behind, because I want to be hearing from you that things have gotten better. Not only by faith, because it's important to have faith in God, but also because you have taken the steps I'm going to share to change your destiny. Now let me spend a few minutes speaking to the unemployed. The first is that, and that may sound a bit odd if I'm talking to you today, that you must have a good reason to be unemployed. It sounds odd, but I say it again. You must have a good reason to be unemployed. There are some people who are physically, mentally, or otherwise challenged. They have a good reason to be unemployed. And even then, I've seen the blind and the lame. One of my brilliant students, when I was rector of Gimpa, who did his master's, and later on I had the privilege of writing a commendation for him to go to America to read for his PhD, was blind. Lack of sight, being one of the greatest handicaps, did not deter him from making it in Ghana today. If you fall into these categories, please shake yourself out of this, that there are certain jobs which are below you. Oh, I'm a graduate, and therefore I cannot be a construction laborer, even though the construction people are getting 4,500 a month. Yes, they are getting an average of 150 to 200 Ghana cedis a day. I just spoke to someone who is a graduate teaching in a Saito private school, and he says he's getting 1,000, and yet he will not accept even a better alternative. Again, in the worst case scenario, you are not having a job opportunity at all. I'll come back to that, but let me deal with those who are picking what job they want to do. Please, if any of these things is preventing you to be gainfully employed, drop it. First, pride. That certain jobs are below me, and therefore I will do nothing. One thing I like is saying, and it's not the type of job that should define you. It is how you do it that should define you. In other words, if you are going to wait for a special job, do you know actually what Zoom Lions is all about? It's collection of garbage. And now we have a garbage collection millionaire. It is important that you don't allow pride to let you remain unemployed. Linked to that is what I call inordinate or high expectation. I want to be there. I don't belong here. Fair enough. I think that nobody should aim at being at the lower end of the ladder forever. But all ladders have their first rank before the second rank. You may be unemployed because you lack marketable skills. Because, yes, you might have gone even to the University of Ghana, Cape Coast, and you've gone to do sociology, this, social science, and this and that. Please be very careful that oftentimes your domain expertise may not earn you a job, but the skills that you learn alongside. I have a son who graduated with electrical and electronic engineering. In his case, of course, by choice, he did not look for a job. He sat in front of his computer for 6 months and became one of the leading photographers in Ghana, and at one time employing about 10 people. You don't need to be stuck to even a good degree like engineering and electrical and electronic engineering. You don't need to be there sitting down that I'm a historian. Well, you may tell your stories to the trees. Learn marketable skills. Let me tell you that today, at the age of almost 77, I've started learning a new skill, not to make money, but to have fun. I've started learning how to play the drums. I decided to do it all my life. I've been too busy up to now. I got it as a gift at my 75th birthday, and now I've engaged a tutor to teach me how to drum. Learn new skills. You're a lady, learn to sew, learn to sell, learn bricklaying, learn to be a mason, learn to be a carpenter. And because of your background, you bring other dimensions to it, and all will know that you are making a difference. At this moment, our economy is not generating sufficient formal jobs, and many unemployed may have to look at self-employment. What it requires is creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurial spirit, and good work ethic, discipline, tenacity, what the Americans will call grit, working at it until you get it done. When all fails, the self-employment opportunity is always there. In this regard, let me recognize and praise the women folk of Ghana. I saw it in 1983 during Rawlings' chains of hunger and challenges. I saw teachers, nurses, female doctors making buffaloes, doing this, turning things around, and their families survived. This is an economy where you need only 100 Ghana cedis to start a business, or at most 500. And many people are willing, if you are humble, to lend you that money, if not dash you. Someone was in my house the other day. He had come to beg twice. I says, no, you are not coming to my house again. You come, then tell me what you will do to support your family, a lady. And it can be a man. He comes to say that he wants to retail charcoal. How much? He says 500. I said, you are getting this 500. Go and make a difference in your life. And don't come to me again unless you come through your pastor, because I knew that he knows that I'm a Christian, and therefore she herself is not a member of any church, but he wants to benefit from the legis of my Lord Jesus Christ. Self-employment is available for almost everyone. And if you don't know where to go, try to reach out for my book. And if you contact me, I may be able to dash you one. If you are truly unemployed, I have a book which says investment and self-employment idea for almost everyone in Ghana. It's a long title, but worth it. And startup, when you need a startup capital, if you want to start small, invariably you will get help. Let me conclude by talking about the low-income group. These are people who are gainfully employed, but they are, if you are earning 1,000 cedis in Accra, in Kumasi, or not in a rural area, it's a very small money. All that I would like to say is this: no matter how small your money is, save 10%. Say, oh yeah, Prof, are you crazy? If I'm earning 600 Ghana cedis, you say I should save and invest 60. Yes, because the 540 and 600 will both make you poor. But if you start saving 60 a month, by the end of the year, you have gathered 720, and possibly, if you invested it, you have reached 1,000, enough capital to start something. Second, learn to live on less and love it. Oftentimes, we are used to certain way of living. Whilst, for example, if you are an adult, you need only one main meal. In fact, in my book, 12 Keys to Financial Success, one of the paragraphs says that live on one quarter. In other words, 1.5 meals. The average Ghanaian can live on 1.5 meals instead of 3 square meals. I myself now live on that, not because of need, but for good health. Also, whilst you are in your job, you can moonlight, do extra things, like the weekend, going to help people weed their house, car detailing, and the rest, so that you can increase your income. And again, you can learn a trade which will supplement you. For some people, you may even have to relocate. I don't know why some people stay in Accra and earn 500 Ghana cedis, whilst the laborers, farm laborers in my village, earn 100 cedis a day. I just paid 500 cedis for 5 days job in Shiromwasi. You may want to think about relocate, but whatever it is, increase your sources of income. Save a little and build some capital and start trading with it. Let me conclude by saying, I know that it's not easy for you today if you are unemployed or you are a low-income person. Don't give up. There's hope for you. And that, don't let your state today define your future. And if you listen to us as we start going through the principles of sustainable wealth creation, you will learn a few lessons and you will become one of the future millionaires. Yes, you can. All things are possible to him who believes. Please continue to be with me every week, Saturday morning. You can see my posting always on YouTube so that you can visit it over and over again. But don't forget, live listening on ZFM 101.9. ZFM 101.9. I'm no longer on Sunny FM, but it's available, same good old stuff on ZFM 101.9. Shalom, and may God be with you. And let us continue next week when we begin the principles of sustainable wealth creation for you and me. We are not talking about entrepreneurship and the big ones. We will come back to that. But my desire is that you will join my Millionaires Club and become the first 1,000 that will be saving towards millionaireship. Keep listening, and God be with you. This is Emeritus Professor Stephen ADEI. You are having some free education on wealth creation. God bless you.